For this one, you're gonna have to define value, chiaroscuro, hatching, cross hatching, stippling. All these are different techniques that artists use to make an image that's on a two-dimensional surface look three-dimensional. And so for this page, you're also going to have to paint a value scale. So you're going to have to start with white, and you're going to use a little bit of white, and you're going to work your way across. So you type a tiny, tiny touch of black into the white, then a tiny bit more black into that. Do not start with black. Start with white and add a little bit more each time into the white. After you get to about middle gray tone, you can start, adding a lot more black into it. You only really need a little bit of paint for this. You have 9 squares. They're supposed to be 9 inches long. The notebooks that you hopefully have are 9 inches. They're supposed to be 9 by 12. Yours is 1 inch blocks. So it's going to be 1 by 1, 9 blocks. And I'm going to draw that here in a second. And you have to have 3 shapes. It could be any shapes you want, in which you have to show an example of hatching, cross hatching, and stippling on all 3. The goal is to create some sort of value change. So decide where you want your light source to come from. All right, so I'm going to do mine in Photoshop. Hopefully I can find a nice speckly brush. You're going to have to use a pen or pencil, and you're going to dot it, okay? So here I am going to get myself a box. It's going to be 9 inches in length. Now up here I have the option, because I am in Photoshop, I can actually write, I want the width to be 1 IN. And I want the length to be 9 IN. And the other way around. What am I doing? That's height. Oh my god, what am I doing? I didn't mean to do it that way. Okay, 9 IN. That's so funny, I wasn't paying attention. 1 IN. Okay, so now this is my value scale. Each one is going to be 1 inch. So in Photoshop, I have my ruler up here. I hit Command R to get that. I'm going to put my ruler right up against here, and I'm going to mark guides. My guides will not print every 1 inch all the way across the board. Or you can just do some paints. If you didn't get the paints, please let me know. We could work something out. Now, in Photoshop, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint each individual one of these. You can't. So I'm going to start with white, and I'm going to dump this in. Oh, yes. Okay, new layer. Oops. New layer. New layer. Calm down, Photoshop. All right, new layer. This next box over here, I'm going to hit transform selection. I'm going to just move it on over. I'm going to hold the shift key so it stays aligned. And this one, what I would do, if I'm hit return on the keyboard, and then I'm going to double click here. I'm going to just add a little bit of gray into the white. That's it. And that's what you do with the paint. Just add a tiny bit of gray into your white paint that's on a palette. All right, and then I'm going to go to select transform selection. I'm going to move it all the way across. Then I'm going to hit return. And I'm going to add a little bit more. Now, as you get to middle gray, what's going to happen with the paint, especially if you have temper paint, is you're going to have to add a substantial more black into the white to make it really jump into past that mid gray tone. Okay, and you can use water. Water helps thin out the paint. Now, you're not going to have a black box underneath like I do. I just, I have it there, just so I had to show you my measurements. I'm going to move this guy over again, holding the shift key so it stays aligned. I return. And each time I add a little bit more, like I said, we're almost there to middle gray. I mean, really, I don't have to keep even doing this. I could just copy my... anyway, I'll just keep going with it. And there's many other alternative ways to do this in Photoshop, but I'm doing this as though we're actually painting each individual square. And these guides would actually be your pencil ruler lines that you made. Your last square is going to be pure black. So you just, get out pure black and just put it right in there. That could have made more of a different transition. That is not pure black right there, you'll see. If I were to put a gray box beneath this, I mean, you can see the small transition. I mean, one looks very black, even though it's not. If I put a gray box beneath it, you'll see exactly what happens here. Look, I'll show you. I'll just put another box here. I'm going to use a middle gray tone. I'm going to drop it on this layer down here. You clearly see that these guys are a little bit different. And I'm going to get rid of this box now because we no longer need that. But no, that was my black. I never made a black box. Well then, I had to make a black one, don't I? I did not do that. You don't have to paint the gray beneath it. I'm showing you an example. That's so funny. I totally did not do that. Let me get rid of that other rectangle. There we go. If I go to view and guides, let's see, clear guides, you will see that these guys are a little bit different. I could have made them more substantially different. I could have started not so dark for this one. I can always go back. The benefit of doing it on a computer, go back a lot easier. If I did this on paper, I'd have to go and make sure it's dry first before going back, because I'll just be painting, making a mess. Basically, is what I'll be doing. So I have this color and I wanted to make it just a little bit lighter first, and then I could just go ahead and should be able to paint. I painted the whole one in. Did not mean for that to happen. That's kind of crazy that I decided to do that. All right, so let me change these up. And I can make that one a little less dark all the way across if I wanted to do that. A little bit darker than that. Yeah, it's better. And this way you can see a more of a separation. Even though they were different, maybe let's make them even more different, you know. Alright, so you get the idea. They're not all even or anything like that. You're going to try your best to paint as neat as you can, but I don't expect it to look like a computer did it. And even when I did it on the computer, I didn't line them all up neatly. I mean, I could go in and I could clean these up easily. I could just draw, you know, some box around all these guys, see? Like so. Because they're all in the same layer. So select inverse, and I could delete the excess. Now they're all super neat. And you don't have to have the gray box beneath it. The gray was just helping, aiding in us seeing a difference in values. And you see there's 9 completely different boxes. And the next thing you have to do is draw 3 different shapes on here. I mean, they can be all the same shape, but I want 3 separate things. And I want you to use cross-hatching, hatching, and stippling and to label them. They have to be over 2 inches big. Okay. Fill color is going to be white. Stroke color, we can use black. Even draw something in with the pen tool over here. I'm going to make sure the pen tool is closed. Okay, and then I'm going to draw another shape. Okay, we can do any shapes that you really want, okay? And they could be 2 the same. Now the thing is you have to do is you have to sit there and make little dots. You know, you might want to say your light source is over here, for instance. If you see your light source, that's a crazy brush I have selected, right? Alright, let's let me see, my light source is over here, we're gonna say, right? You know what, helps if I don't have white. All right, light source. All right, it's coming from this way, so that everything would be highlighted up here. So if I was doing a stippling, I would choose a different brush. Let me get a different brush that's more hard edge. I would actually, you know, if I was doing stippling, I would find a brush that's dotted already. But you guys are doing this on paper, so you're gonna have to use a pen or marker. And you're seriously gonna sit there and make little dots over and over and over. The theory is this: is as these dots get closer together, the eyes start filling in what you see as a darkness, which, you know, gives you more an illusion of depth. Make sure you title it stippling. These also form value, but they're like parallel lines. They're not cross-hatching. So I can do that on, well, maybe I could do this here. And because I'm drawing them, they're not going to be perfect, but you're going to get the idea. And I'm saying the light source is still the same light source. They're not dots or lines. So it is a bit different. And I use hatching and cross hatching all the time, and I'm trying not, see, I just did a cross. I'm not supposed to do crossing. Alright. Here's gonna be probably neater than that, I would hope. And this one would be cross hatching over here. So this one would be hatching, a cross hatching. Make sure you label it. That would be hatching. And this is going to be stippling. It's not pointillism. There is a difference, although people use them interchangeably sometimes. So your pointillism is more used in painting. I will show you. Okay. Hatching portraits. I mean, like, look how incredible some of these are. These are hatching and cross hatching probably. This is cross hatching in here. See all the crisscrossing of the line work, and you do have some hatching happening in there also. But they're really beautiful portraits. That's all done with cross hatching. It's pretty amazing, right? Hatching again is just no lines that are crossed over. This is stippling. Portraits. Wait until you see this nonsense. It's so crazy cool. Look at these people who did this stuff. It's amazing, right? Look at that. So see how the dots get closer together, they make our eyes, you know, believe it's, you know, it becomes like a darker value. This looks like it's done by computer, but some of this is hand done. But yeah, it's pretty cool, right? So, yeah, it's pretty intense. All right, so all you have to do is do a shape. You do not have to do a human portrait. So so you have to do the value scale, 3 shapes, fill them with hatching, cross hatching, and stippling. And then the other thing I wanted to show you was the pointillism, so you know the difference. See, the pointillism is different blobs of color that come together, and then our eyes fill in, you know, those colors, our eyes blend them. All right, so that's it. If you guys have any questions, you can text me